Over the past few years, the conversation has really been opening up about mental health issues, and that really is a blessing. It's much less stigmatized than it used to be, and people are really opening up about their internal battles that they had to keep secret for so long. There is something I'd like to see a dialogue open on, and that is spiritual crises, because that is as important to one's mental, emotional, and physical well-being as anything else is. And I often wonder how many children and young adults and adults in general are being treated for mental health issues that are not actually mental health issues. They're spiritual health issues. And I'm bringing this up because in the last month I had the opportunity to sit down with a 9-year-old girl who had told her mom there was a spirit living in her body, prompting her to do bad things, things that would get her in trouble. And her mom, as any mom would, wondered whether or not this little girl, whom I'll call T, was making this up just to get out of trouble, just to, get away from being punished for something, for misbehaving, basically. And so mom, having known me for a number of years and what I do, called and asked if I'd sit with her daughter to make a determination. Can I determine whether or not she has actually something spiritually going on, or if this is just an excuse? And it was interesting because when this little girl first came in and sat down, she was glaring at me over the top of her glasses like I was the last thing she wants to be talking to on this particular day. And before we got into the dialogue, she asked her mom to leave. And mom was a little apprehensive about that, but I said, just go grab a cup of coffee, come back, park in front of the house. You're there. If we need you, we'll let you know. And the little girl said to me that the spirit living in her body, her name was May. And May didn't like me. May thought I was going to try to get rid of her and make her go away. And I said, no, that's not my intention. My intention is simply to understand what's happening in your body and to offer you some tools to help you and May cope effectively and live happily together until she's ready to go. What I found most fascinating about this is I asked T if she talked to May and asked May questions. And she said it had never crossed her mind. And I said, well, can we give this a whirl and see how it goes? So I would ask T a question to pose to May. And at first she said, I need a blindfold. I need to cover my eyes. I need my eyes to be black. I thought, okay, so I got her a scarf. And she'd have to sit on the floor cross-legged. So she'd sit on the couch across from me to give me May's reply. But when she was asking me a question, she had to sit on the floor and cover her eyes with a blindfold to pose the question. And what I learned was that May had died quite unexpectedly. She also was a child of 10. She had been in a car accident and had a broken arm. T described how she went to the hospital and described the setting in the operating room and said she needed her arm fixed because it was broken, and that there were 2 doctors on the right-hand side and 1 on the left, and the one on the left put something in her IV tube and she died. So I'm discerning from that it was an allergic reaction to the anesthesia. So basically May was angry. May did not have to die from a broken arm, and yet she did, and she was very angry, and she happened to latch on to T during a visit to the hospital. Now T is a very high frequency, high vibrational child. You don't have to worry about this happening to your children when they go to the hospital. These circumstances are unusual and uncommon, really. But May attached to T and found a friend. But May was dealing with her anger and didn't know, as a child wouldn't, how to safely discharge that anger. So through our discussion, I helped coach T with some tips and tricks to make May peaceful and allow her a safe and healthy vent for her anger. And I said, once she gets that out, she'll be able to see the souls waiting to help her cross over, and then she'll make the transition. But be prepared, you will go through a grief process at the end of it all, because you'll feel like you've lost a part of yourself. And I do have to say, in T's favor, I guess, I have never heard a child so eloquently express what was happening in her physical body for her age. It was just phenomenal. And after she left, I thought to myself, you know, I kind of looked up at the heavens and I went, thank you, Marlene. Thank you, Marlene. Because really, in my world, it was Marlene and my experience with her of living in my body for 21 months that I was able to understand what was happening with T and to be able to help her through this. I've been very blessed that I've had so many unusual experiences that when people come to me with strange things like this, I can look at them and go, no, I understand. And I really do understand because I've been down that road. But I think to myself, how many children are out there being medicated for ADHD, ADD, other mental health issues that are not actually mental health issues? They are spiritual health issues that are not being looked at for what they are. They're being treated medically instead. And I'm just throwing this out there today as a thought for, you know, mental health professionals who are maybe watching this. You know, keep an open mind. T was very fortunate that she has a mother who was willing to think outside of the box and to look at other alternatives for assistance and guidance for her daughter rather than just immediately going the route of medical mental health. But certainly this is a dialogue that needs to be opened, and I'm planting a seed.